All right, we're here. Dom, how are you feeling?
I feel pretty good right now. You know, me and Asher, we had our teams go head to head this weekend. One of us came out on top, the other one did not. We all know who that was, unfortunately, for one Mr. Asher over here. He's been in a little bit of a rut of late. It was a tough weekend for him all around with sports. So
Yeah,
I'll
I
just kind
can
of
I
take the
just
lead.
just real
Oh,
quick
he wants to
here.
go. That's
I'll
fine.
just explain it. Just how awful this weekend of sports was for me. So obviously, Ravens lose in borderline comical fashion. So now I have to look at your stupid fucking face as we do this. So that
There,
hurts.
there's a there's worse faces you can look at. So.
That's fair. On top of that, went 0 and 5 in picks. First time I've done that all year, that it's been that bad. And the worst part about those games is some of them gave me hope on top of that, much like the Ravens did. And then, oh, let's just put, a little cherry on top here. Some of my narratives just went completely fucking sideways too. And then the little cherry on top is Alex Ovechkin is now week to week with an MCL injury. Oh, and let's just, on top of this, Colton Cowser won the popular vote in the AL Rookie of the Year, but lost Rookie of the Year to Luis Gil. It's just been a horrendous 3 days for me. It's been
on the
great.
on the positive, Paul Skeens won NL Rookie of the Year. So
Congrats.
Pittsburgh fans have something to root for in that realm. I
Let's just go back
Dude,
to the things that you're happy about.
all right,
Let's get
let's get
into
off of
this.
baseball. Let's talk about the most depressing sports city in America. Say it with
Mm-hmm.
me, guys. It's New York
New
City.
York City.
Um, they did just get absolutely handed to them about a month ago with the World Series. But I mean, on top of that, they have two of the worst football franchises right now. It's depressing.
Two of the
Jets
worst
just fired.
run just organizations in sports.
Oh, terrible. Yeah, Jets just fired Joe Douglas, which is long overdue.
Mm-hmm.
And then um, the Giants finally benched Daniel Jones, which is also long overdue. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
against Daniel Jones. I was rooting for him for a long time.
Yeah, and honestly,
Uh,
even with Joe Douglas did draft pretty well. He just couldn't get the quarterback right.
Everybody drafts pretty well, but
Yeah, but I mean,
I
like
mean Ryan Poles
that
drafts
defense.
pretty well. If I mean given a
Well,
top 10 pick every year, I could draft pretty well. Let's just say the obvious.
I
But the
mean, yeah,
man
I mean
can't
that's
make
kind
it.
of what happens when you can't get the quarterback right. So I'll give you that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So both those franchises kind of going over some little bit of turmoil here.
mhm.
Jets will have some decisions in the offseason. Who do
I
they
don't
want
know
to be the
about you,
head
but
coach?
I do not see the path where Aaron Rodgers is on that team next year. I don't.
He
I
so
don't see how any of that makes any sense. Like new coach,
for
new GM, they're going to want their own QB.
Yeah,
Cut
100%.
ties pretty
For the
quick.
Jets, yeah, for the Jets organization, I hope that Aaron Rodgers just retires, makes the decision a whole lot easier. But also for the comedy aspect of it all,
Oh, I
I
want
hope
to
it
see him
doubles
get
down,
cut. That'll just be
comes
hysterical.
back. Oh yeah, well that's what it'll ultimately do. I
Yeah.
want to see him force their hand, cut him, and then Aaron Rodgers gets to be a free agent and beg teams to sign him at that point.
Yeah. Who's going
Um,
to, I mean, Raiders, maybe.
because it's not like when Brady was a free agent at 41 and he got to pick where
Yeah.
he went. It's not that same narrative
Brady clearly
because
had something
it's
left in the tank because, his post 40 numbers are also a Hall of Fame career.
and Aaron Rodgers' post 40 numbers right now are terrifying.
Yeah.
Bad. They're awful.
Horrendous.
They've gotten worse in the last 6 weeks. So that's kind of where the Jets are going. They're gonna have a lot of decisions to make, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be the first one. It's
Mm.
does he retire? If he retires, do you cut him? Or if he doesn't retire, do you cut him? Because that decision almost has to be made before the head coach and the
Yeah.
GM. Because that in do you does that incoming person just want a clean slate, fresh start? Most likely, yeah.
Not even
You've
that.
seen
It's
the
just
way
like,
this.
if it's just, your options at head coach change drastically if you're going to
Yeah,
hang on to Aaron Rodgers. That's just the reality of it. Like
it's limited. Yeah,
yeah, like you're going to have to find a very specific person that's going to want to come in and deal with that circus.
Yeah, you already tried to do that. You brought in Nathaniel Hackett to handle him with the
Mhm.
offensive side of the ball. That didn't work, clearly. So I think there's a lot of problems with that team and a lot of things that they need to deal with. But yeah, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is still your quarterback in 2025, there's a lot of
That's
issues that you have to face, and
for sure.
your your options of hiring, like you said, are very limited
Mhm.
because what coach wants to come in and deal with a 41-year-old diva who
Yeah.
basically wants control over everything?
Yeah, like
That's a big problem.
you're not getting like obviously the big ticket names that are going to be thrown around this offseason. You're going to have Belichick and Vrabel getting thrown around.
They
Belichick's
don't
not
want
touching
either of
that.
those jobs.
Vrabel
Vrabel
is
definitely
football
doesn't.
only. Like he doesn't give a shit about what's going on
And
outside of
then beyond that,
the locker
Ben
room.
Johnson doesn't want to go there. Bobby
No.
Slowick doesn't want to go there.
Mm-mm.
So now
Yeah, Ben
you're
Johnson
down.
already showed that like he is going to be very picky
He's
on where he wants to
choosing
go.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's going to
he's
be
not
very
gonna put himself
selective.
in a position to fail. Like I think he's going to be looking at that Chicago job.
You know where he's going to be looking, and this is sneaky. Cincinnati.
That is a very good point and one hell of a segue. Let's get into Cincinnati here and just the playoff picture. That has been one that I have not been able to figure out. I don't
Yeah,
know if Zach Taylor is a good coach or not, and I still don't know.
I think
Because the offensive
I
side of the
think that
ball, I think he can. I just none of the Bengals makes any sense.
no, it doesn't. The way that their offense runs and everything goes
Mm-hmm.
is great, and then the defense steps on the field, they can't do anything.
And
Special
Lou
teams even
Anarumo
fails,
has been a good DC for them for several years now.
but that doesn't matter. When your head coach doesn't find fluidity and can bring the team together constantly, that's where
Yeah.
things get lost. No matter how much you might deal with injuries and situations that happen within your team, if you can't find a way to win the games that you need to win, if you can't take one or two from the Ravens when you're putting up 70 plus points in both those games combined, there's a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
So, yes, ultimately, Zach Taylor might be an okay head coach, decent head coach, but he's a very good offensive minded coach.
I was gonna
And
say
maybe
he's a
that's
McVay
where
guy,
he
right?
needs to focus on.
Was he McVay's OC?
Yeah, he's a McVay guy.
Was he the OC before he got the job
I
in
think he was the
Cincy? Or a quarterback coach?
he was the QB coach. He was
I
a
couldn't remember which
coach.
one he was.
Yeah, he was the QB coach because he was under O'Connell. O'Connell was the OC.
That's right.
Yeah, so they both left like the same year.
No, Zach
Like
Taylor's been there for a few
90%
years
sure.
now. O'Connell's
Well,
only been
Zach
in.
Taylor's been there for.
O'Connell
I thought
only has
O'Connell's
been in. No, it's only been 3 years now, and Zach Taylor's been there since like
3 years now.
2020,
Well, I mean, he played against
2019.
McVay in. Yeah, he played against McVay in the Super Bowl 2021. So, and then they gave him an extension after that.
Yeah, that was when Zach Taylor was there. When did Kevin O'Connell? Hold on, I got to look that up now.
I thought KOC's been there for a minute, but
I don't think he
I
has
could
because
be
they
wrong.
had Zimmer for so long.
Zimmer hasn't been coaching for a minute now. Well, I mean,
It's
now
been a
he's
couple of
back
years.
with the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, I know what you mean, but like, hold on, when did he take that job?
Yeah, so so Zach Taylor took the job with
2019.
the Bengals in 19.
Kevin O'Connell, I think, was like 2021 or something like that. And you're right, he was the
He was the
QB
quarterback's
coach.
coach. I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. That's
And O'Connell took the job
in
2022.
22. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's
Interesting. Okay. So they
yeah,
never
he's
even
also a
overlap.
few years younger.
Yeah, he's
I didn't
a
realize
young
he was that
kid.
young.
He's a very young coach. I mean, that's just the name of the game at this point. You
Oh,
want
yeah.
a young, smart. I mean, McVay
Mhm.
changed coaching when he became a head coach. He
for
completely
sure.
changed it. Like,
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan had a different mind, different way to view the game, but McVay completely took that, flipped it, and then actually won a championship using it.
Yeah,
First
McVay
one to
is
do so.
really, I feel like, even just the stuff you hear about him is like the offensive minded version of Belichick, where it's like
Yeah.
offense is his thing, but like he bounces around a lot more. Kyle Shanahan is like, no, I do offense. Somebody else figure out the defense, and I could care less about special teams, and that's why their special teams struggle every year.
Yeah, yeah, and that's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Now, so like going back to Cincinnati and all that,
Yes. Yes.
I their playoff picture is very limited, and I think their best way to move forward might be to see what else is out there in the coaching room, because there is a lot of other young minded coaches that could work, like Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's 38. This is his
Yeah.
third round now on the coaching tree poll. If
Mhm.
he wants to leave, he can leave, but he hasn't found the right fit that's going to bring him to where he thinks he can go.
Yeah.
He's
The only
smart. He's playing
thing,
this game.
yeah, the only thing that's that I would push back on that with is the Bengals are weird. Who are their owners again? But that family does not like
That's true. That is true. Because they held on to
uh,
Marvin Lewis for how long?
forever and wouldn't
Ever. For no
fire him if
reason.
they still owed him money. They do not like every
Yeah.
other organization has no problem firing coaches because they make so much goddamn money. Yeah, Mike Brown does not do that.
You make a good point there.
That's the
Because
only thing is like they'll probably let him finish out that contract. And but the other side to that is, I mean, that's kind of the other thing with the Bengals too, is like they're not spending any money. They don't like spending
yeah.
money on defensive personnel. I mean, Bates walked for nothing. They're not,
Which is crazy. So
yeah,
crazy
and
still.
he's been great with Falcons this year. T. Higgins is going to walk.
Yeah. And
Uh,
they might lose Chase if they don't pay Chase.
well, yeah, they're gonna drag that out and make that worse than it needs to be. And Chase is not exactly the quietest wide receiver.
No,
Like, I
no,
don't think he's
definitely
a
not.
bad dude. Like, in terms of wide
So
receivers, like he's not, an Antonio Brown towards the end or,
no, nobody
Terrell
is.
Owens, but like he's also not the quietest guy, but like
No,
middle of the
but
road for a receiver.
I think the newer age wide receivers, a lot of them are a little bit louder, a little
Yeah,
bit
and
more
I think
opinionated with how they
it's the
are.
glamour position
I just think
of
that's the
football.
name. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the name of the
That's just
game
what it
now.
is. Like I don't have a problem with it as long as
It's
you're not
tough to
being.
see,
I mean,
like,
George Pickens is the goddamn psycho 90% of the time.
dude, I love it. That's different. AB was a psycho that, like, when he spoke, I was scared. George Pickens, I'm
That's
like,
true.
oh, he's insane, and that's a good insane.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to that point, I think then maybe do you think about getting a guy who can control the locker room a little bit better, bring that cohesiveness that you're looking for? Because
I
clearly it's not Zach Taylor. But
I
again,
think
like
that's
you
again
said,
those are the right thoughts. Those are the right feelings to have. I just don't until the Bengals do that. I don't know what they're going to do. They're not. They're a weird organization where they're not poorly run, really, and they've like in the past 20 years, like they've actually done pretty well in terms of drafting quarterbacks. You go from Carson Palmer to Andy Dalton, who was at least solid for the first 7-8 years for them, and
yeah,
then you go from Andy Dalton to Joe Burrow. Like they have the little bottom out, and then they get a guy. I mean, Boomer Esiason was a Bengal. Like they've had good quarterbacks, which is
yeah,
weird
no,
for
100%
a franchise that has just been like massively
bottom feeder.
underperforming. Yeah, bottom feeder
Yeah,
kind of thing. Just there's just a weird one to kind of figure out. Because like the
yeah.
Jets just can't get anything right. When they get a good roster, they can't figure out the quarterback when and Giants are, hit and miss every few
We didn't
years.
even get into the Giants yet, so
Yeah, that's just going to be an overhaul. I feel bad for Dable on that one more than anything.
I think if they fire Dable, that's a mistake,
Oh,
and he's gonna get
100%.
jumped on. He's gonna get jumped on really quick by somebody who trusts him.
I was going to say
I
it's going to
think
be a
what you
gap year, I think, for him. He'll take an OC job with somebody, and then it'll be
if
like,
I don't think he's gonna get let go at this point. I think they want to see what he can do with a quarterback of his actual choosing, not
yeah,
Daniel Jones, not Drew Lock, not Tommy DeVito.
yeah.
They're gonna be like, all right, If you want Sam Darnold, we'll get Sam Darnold. If you want Justin Fields, we'll make it happen. If you want to draft a guy, let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't draft a guy this year, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you kind of sit there and you go, okay, when are you going to be in the top 5 again?
Okay,
That's the major hole that they have.
let's go back 3 years to 2021 draft class. Or not one quarterback was taken until pick 20. That quarterback was Kenny Pickett. Backup.
That's true. I mean, both of
You're
the
looking
guys
at
in this class at least have
yeah.
a
It's
bit
not
more
as
juice to them.
yeah. I'm not saying it's not as bad as that class, but if it wasn't for that class, it's the worst class in the last like 10 years of quarterbacks
True.
coming in.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you can see something with talent-wise, Shador and Cam Ward
Yeah.
are the two. Outside of that, there are massive question marks about every single one of
There's
them.
massive question marks around Monroe, Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck might as well drop off the face of the earth at this point. The way he's
Carson
been
Beck went
playing.
from being like the favorite to be the number 1 pick to Stetson Bennett in 6 months.
He might get drafted lower than Stetson Bennett, and that's honestly hilarious.
He's completely bottomed out. I mean, Drew
which
Aller.
is-
I mean,
goes to
I like
show-
Drew Aller, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to pretend like there aren't massive questions there.
Yeah,
But however,
100%.
that's like, there you go with Dable. It's just like, is that maybe the guy for Drew Aller?
That's sure, but not in the top 5. If you want to
Also
take
true.
a second round flyer on him, go for it. I don't give a shit. But that is not a guy I
Just
am.
quarterback
reaching
inflation.
for.
I don't think he's going to fall. Like, I don't think you're only going to see 2 quarterbacks in the first round. You know what I mean?
I think max you see 3, maybe. But I think Cam Ward and Shador are going to be the 2 you see. If you see 2,
Yeah.
it's those 2. Unless something drastic
Cam Ward and
happens.
Shador, they're locks to be top 5 picks, I think, at this
unless
point.
something drastic is going to happen in these next few weeks
Mhm.
and into the off season leading up to it, those are the 2 guys. Outside of that, I don't really want a quarterback, but if you're forcing my hand, those are the 2 I'm going to take.
Yeah.
And I still have issues with those 2.
Yeah.
I have less issues. Surprisingly, I have less issues with Shador than Cam.
I think
Cam
Shador
is
is
a
the
turnover
better
machine.
Shador is the better talent. If it weren't for the outside stuff, I think it would be runaway for number 1 pick. Runaway.
I think
think
there's a little bit more problems I have with Shador than just like the noise and whatnot and his attitude.
I think that's
those
the
are
biggest
major
thing with
issues.
him. Because,
Yeah.
like, when you look at him, like, like, I feel like a lot of people are kind of valuing him very, very similar. Like, I mean, honestly, even me, like, I would probably lean Cam Ward a little bit at this point. I don't think there's anything wrong with Shador. It's just, okay, do I take a guy that's got the raw talent and keeps his mouth shut as a quarterback to, kind of, be the leader of my franchise? I would lean that a little bit.
I don't think Cam Ward's necessarily a raw talent. If you want to talk like raw talent, then like Jalen Milroe, he's more raw.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
I mean,
to the
Cam's
NFL
a 5-year
level.
starter. He's a 5-year starter. He's poised. He has attitude. He is the things you want to see at a quarterback. True. However, as a quarterback himself, he does a lot of stupid stuff, has a lot of turnover-worthy plays, does turn the ball over.
That's what I mean by the raw thing. Is also you just kind of rein that back in on it, because like the talent is there, the big play stuff. He's going for some. Honestly, you know what it reminds me of a little bit, because, and you know how I feel about this guy now, but I was out on him watching his last year in college. Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Coming out of college, I was much less on him because I was like, man, this dude throws some balls that are. He's letting the ball go, and it's just like, dude, where are you going with this? And he's getting lucky more than anything right now. They're just kind of falling into receivers' hands, kind of thing. So, like, I was much lower on Justin Herbert coming out. Like we talked about, I was higher on Tua than I was Justin Herbert. In that draft class,
everybody was.
Yeah, and I look back at it now, and I'm like, I don't even think those two are in the same stratosphere anymore. And that's, you see, you get some good coaching, everything like that.
I think Yeah, I think it would take a perfect storm for him to come in and be like an immediate guy. I think the only one of these quarterbacks that would come in and change the trajectory of your team potentially immediately is probably Shador.
I agree with that.
I think Cam
Cam
needs
would
a
need a
little bit of
year.
time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say year.
Well, you know
I
what I
think it
mean.
would
Like a
take
year to like really look like something. Because like first 10 games, you're gonna go like, what the hell were these people thinking?
yeah,
But then like,
I think he'll need like the perfect storm kind of thing.
and
Like
he's one of
what
those
happened
two
with
either has to sit for a year or you just got to let him go out and make his mistakes.
Yeah, which you got to commit, which is exactly
Yeah.
what the Colts didn't do for A Rich. They didn't
Yeah.
commit,
Yeah.
which is the issue. You need to say,
Mm.
hey, this is what we're doing. Period. We're not going to go back on that. And I hope they stick with that because A Rich just went out last week and he balled out. He looked good. He
Mm.
did everything you wanted him to do.
Yep.
But again, I'm not going to sit here on my podium and talk about A Rich today.
I mean, I'm still not buying it. I just want to be very
Sure.
clear
I
on
mean,
that. I'm not.
I obviously want to see what he looks like the rest of the season.
Yeah.
We have polarizing different takes on him, and we have other polarizing different takes on other players like Trevor
Plenty of
Lawrence.
other. Yeah.
But
That's fair. That one's getting harder and harder for me. I will say.
I think part
I'm
of it this season for him is actually I have no idea. The defense down there is terrible in Jacksonville, but
They did get a lot of turnover luck last year. I think they led the league in takeaways last year, and that doesn't normally
yeah,
carry over. So that was a big part of it. And I don't know. That's just that. And somebody else, I forgot who I was listening to, but they brought up the article that came out about Trevor Lawrence before the draft with his dad. And
hmm
his dad was just like, yeah, he doesn't need football. Like if his career ended tomorrow, like he'd be fine. And I was just like,
hmm
maybe put my eggs in the wrong basket on this one. You know,
potentially, but a little late to the party now.
I mean, like I said, I knew I was going to be the last one off that bus, but we'll see. There's still time.
Yeah. I mean, he just signed a 5-year deal. You kind of have to have
I mean,
time.
he's going to start again next year at least. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, 100%. All right, let's get into some of these games from last week.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to start with the big one here and just ruin
Yeah,
my life a little bit
we'll
more?
start with the big one real quick. Just kind of get through it.
All right.
Steelers Ravens had the bout of a century.
Yep.
It was not a pretty game on either side of that ball.
Mm-mm.
Both offenses struggled pretty heavily. They almost had the identical amount of yardage, which is hilarious. I think it was like a 3-yard difference in favor of the Ravens.
Steelers, I think, definitely had more big plays. I don't know if that's going to show. I'm pretty sure they had more big plays than that because there were a couple bombs to Pickens. Or there was one to Pickens, I think one to Calvin Austin or something like that. Yeah.
Always going to happen. Yeah, Pickens caught 8 catches for 89 yards. I mean, him and Russ just have that connection that is needed on this team.
Yeah.
Lamar played the worst game of the season.
Yep.
A pick, a touchdown.
It was his worst game of the year.
Overall aren't really going to show it. 207, a touchdown interception. Yep. But he went 16 of 33 through the air. Didn't even throw 50%. And 6.3 yards per average. I mean, this team was averaging almost double-digit yards a play at one point. So, like, coming into this and struggling. And then Derrick Henry fumbled for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah, I was going to say.
On the first drive.
There were 3 things that stood out to me in this game. First one, penalties again. You and I were talking during the game about that, and I was just like, Joey Porter is pulling Zay Flowers on every single play, and they kept cutting to it on the broadcast, everything like that. Not once was there a flag thrown on that.
Joey Porter is a very physical corner in that way, where he does.
Oh, no, it wasn't even that.
He grabs a little extra long.
It was pulling on the undershirt and jersey every single.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He was getting beat, and there were a few of those.
A lot of the
Pickens,
younger receivers I've noticed do that. Not receivers, corners.
Yeah,
they do that. They grab. It's not just him though. I mean, you watch like Devin Witherspoon. You watch like Sauce. They're all more handsy beyond that 5 yards.
Yeah, totally get that. However, and then obviously there was the Pickens play where he just, I think it was Kyle Hamilton, just completely pushed off Kyle Hamilton and then like took 3 steps back and then was open for a first down play.
I did see that, and we talked about that too. I think a little bit was Hamilton, if that's who it was able to reestablish himself before and it just
Not
wasn't as like
really.
bang bang. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to look at it from the perspective
Yeah.
of like a ref. That's all.
No, it's all good. I'm going
Um,
through that part where I'm saying like it was one sided again a little bit. However, because again, we look at it here at penalties. It was Ravens 12 for 80 yards, and there were several that were declined, and then the Steelers 7 for 45. So not
yeah, so
as
a little bit
egregious of a guy.
one-sided.
Yeah, so a little bit one
Yeah,
sided again because that's happened every single game this year, and but we're at the point now too where it's like this. They're just wildly undisciplined.
yeah. So
Wildly.
yeah, maybe it's more so less like, hey, it's the refs problem. More so,
Right.
we're a young team. We have this issue. We need to clean this up.
Yes, it was a little bit of both in that one, just because of watching that game and seeing some of the stuff.
Yeah,
However, at the same time, it's just like they need to be better. Like they have three
yeah,
offensive linemen in the top 10 for penalties right now. Like they're just
yeah.
completely undisciplined team. What was the second thing I had there? Yeah, the other one was Derrick Henry again. Um, he was 13
I mean,
carries, 65 yards. Guess how many touches he had in the fourth quarter of that game?
probably 2-0.
0.
Yeah.
Not a single touch, and wasn't in on the 2-point conversion. He wasn't on the field.
That I mean, that feels like a missed opportunity. That's where I would have went.
Exactly. I mean, if nothing else, if you're not going to give him the ball, put him on the field. Like you at least have to
He's
account
a
for that.
mammoth.
Let
Yeah.
Lamar make the right decision. If he sees like, okay, they're biting on this entirely, like I'll just give it to him.
Yeah, the second you take Derrick Henry off the field, you know what they're
Yes,
doing,
and that 2-point
and they were
play
able
was
to bully the
horrendous.
left.
There was
Yeah.
miscommunication between Aguilar and Flowers on that play. That thing got blown up immediately.
Yeah.
Just awful, awful, awful. And then the third thing that I wanted to say was we talked about the Chiefs, dark magic, and summoning demons. But the Steelers are right fucking there. And I saw somebody put on
Okay,
Twitter too that the two
I'm not
dark
gonna say
magic
it's
teams
not.
play each other on Christmas. The gates of hell might actually open up on Christmas
Dude,
Day.
we might see Krampus just come to the 50-yard line and
I
summon
mean,
hell.
for
It'll be
real.
great.
It'll be like
Um,
the scene in Batman where but just like actually happens on Netflix.
no,
Just
I mean, here's the thing. Did you see what Justin Tucker said after the game? That the field conditions weren't ideal to kick. I don't think you
and
can state
Boswell
that
went
when the
what? Yeah,
6 of
went
6.
6 of
You
6.
can't say that when
Uh,
the opposite kicker
it
didn't
was
miss.
just cartoonishly bad weekend for me. Like it just everything was just not
Yeah, I
fun.
mean, I'll say this as well. Props to the Steelers defense for just playing one of their best games of the year
Oh yeah, and that was the other thing too.
overall.
The Ravens defense played freaking brilliantly in that game. Trey White,
Yeah,
2 huge pass breakups in the end zone.
yeah,
Like Ravens defense came to play. Kyle Hamilton was fantastic in that game. First time the defense has looked good all year, and you put up 16 points.
yeah. Because unfortunately, they got outclassed by the other side of the ball on defense, and it's not even their fault. It's just the Steelers defense decided to show up a little extra that day.
Yeah.
Um, and it is what it is. Forcing
Yeah.
2 fumbles in big play situations
Oh, that was the other
is
one too.
what they needed.
That the play calling there too. The Isaiah Likely fumble at the end of the first half. Why? Why are you calling a tight end screen at your own 9 with 13 seconds left?
Yeah,
Or
that's
30?
crazy.
No, sorry, it was more than that. It was like 38 seconds left.
It
Regardless,
was 38, yeah.
it was
And
38.
Patrick
You
Queen,
can't get
man.
anything going. You've missed 2 field goals. Points are a premium right now. Why are
Kneel,
you
kneel the
trying
ball,
anything?
go to half.
Neil get to half reset. What in
Yeah.
the
I think,
absolute hell was that play call? Like the
so I
only
think,
thing that could have
oh,
gone
well, the play
wrong.
call, yeah, bad.
It's just
Yeah.
stupid.
I think part of that thought is we don't get ball to start the half. They get the ball, they could really swing the field. We need to get something on the board here. Try to
Yeah, and the
push
way
it.
your
I mean,
defense
it's
is
just
playing,
bad,
you're down 5 if they come down and
yeah.
kick a field goal. It was
Yeah.
a 2-point
So,
game at that point.
yeah.
Or no, they were
Not
up. Were they up? going into half? Hold on, I got to look at that.
Yeah, they would have been up. It would have been 7-6. It would
Yeah, it
have
would have
been
been
up
7
one.
6, and you've kind of just like skated by on that. Should be 13-6, but whatever. Just a masterclass of poor decisions all game long. On top
Yeah.
of that, the drive that last drive where the Ravens ended up scoring, um, Lamar scrambles around, saves time, has Zay Flowers wide open. Zay Flowers just lets it go right through his hands and hit him right in the face mask. Like, we're back to the drops now because
Yeah.
we're playing the
I mean,
Steelers, and now we all want to just shit ourselves.
yeah.
And then
On the flip side there,
the
go
pick
ahead.
that Lamar threw. I'm sorry. This is just the
That
last thing on the dark magic. I wasn't even mad about that because that was just one hell of a play.
Yeah, Peyton Wilson didn't stop. He stuck his arm up, felt the ball come in, and just ripped it right out
Yeah,
while
Justice
getting
Hill
brought
caught
down to
that
the ground. It was
football.
just,
Justice Hill caught that football, and it was an interception. Like,
yeah, crazy how that happens. It's not the first time I've seen the Steelers. It's not the first time the Steelers have done it against the Ravens because
don't I
Devin
know?
Bush did it 5 years ago, almost same situation. But the difference is Devin Bush, I still to this day do not think intercepted that ball.
Like,
I'm
none of it makes any sense. I
99%
will say
certain that
one
ball.
last thing here, actually, because I'm just now noticing it. Wildly poetic loss here. Because what if I said all year games against the Steelers are games with the Steelers
One score games.
race to 18?
Oh, race to 18. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, and of course it's 18
Yeah.
on the nose on that.
On the nose. Yeah. So one thing I'll say about the Steelers, and they're gonna have some issues with this going forward, is they have been wildly not productive in the red zone since Russ has taken over. I'm pretty sure they're like 2 of 7. I think I saw in the red zone in the last 4 games.
He's not good at
And
throwing over the middle of the field.
it's not. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues within it that I've seen come up, and that's kind of one of them. I think they need to get to running the ball a little bit more and not trying to force passes. And I get it when in the one game you had against the Giants, you should have had 2 red zone touchdowns that you didn't, got called back because of penalties and didn't
Yeah.
get 2 feet in, but you got 2 feet in. So I get that, but still you just have to be better. And I hope they kind of worked at it this week in practice. I know it's a short week, so I'd just like to see a little bit of improvement in that going into Thursday before you then play Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Chiefs, Baltimore.
I mean,
down
yeah,
the
the
stretch.
back this stretch of their schedule is absolutely brutal. All the division games.
Oh, I
plus,
forgot you play the Browns
all your
back in there
division
again
games.
somewhere.
Yeah, but it's all your divisional games, but it's the AFC North. None of these games are easy.
No.
That's just the
So they played Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals.
Yeah, the back of your schedule is all your divisional
Thanks.
games in the AFC North,
Thanks.
and then you get the Chiefs and the Eagles on top of that. It's just like,
Thanks, guys. We get 2 top 5 teams in the AFC North. Brilliant. That's what I love.
yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, that was a weird play.
You're
when
taller
he
than everybody else on the field. Just
when he
I
let
don't
go of that ball, all I could think of was just like, all right, well, here's the nail in the coffin, and I can at least turn this game off. And no, he throws a pick, and then I got to watch the rest of that nightmare.
It's so dumb. All right, let's get off this game. We've spent far too much time on it.
We did. Too much emotion
We'll slide
in that.
over real quick. Yeah, we'll talk about Eagles Commanders. Exactly what I kind of expected to happen in that game. Eagles offense showed out. They look pretty good. Saquon continues to dominate teams. And
Offensive
he
player
will
of the year.
probably win Offensive Player of the Year at this point. I mean, if he didn't
Should have
clinch it
bet
with the
that. I should have
backwards
actually bet
jump,
that.
yeah, if he didn't clinch it with the backwards jump, he definitely did with last week's performance. He put up almost 100 yards in like the last 6 minutes of the game. It was quite literally
2 touchdowns
insane.
in 20 seconds.
Just nuts. Good for him. He should have had 3 touchdowns, but the stupid tush push.
Yeah.
Brotherly shove,
Well, he's
whatever
been
they
whatever you
want
want to call it. Yeah. What was that? Did you see that tweet about that where it was just like he's had like 9 carries or like had the ball and been down at the 1 yard like 9 times,
It's just how
and
how
has only gotten the ball once the next play, and he fumbled on the one time he got it.
not no, you want to talk about some dark magic? So it's Jalen Hurts to get
Jalen Hurts
get that
rushing
1 yard
touchdowns.
touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, get um.
Is he leading the league in
I
rushing
will.
touchdowns right now?
No, there's no way. Derrick Henry definitely is.
It's close. Derrick Henry's got 13. Jalen Hurts has 11.
11? That's insane. That's asinine. That's not even insane. That's asinine.
Yeah. On 94 less attempts and 700, almost 770 less yards than Derrick Henry.
Just dumb. Just dumb. Whatever.
His longest carry of the year is 24 yards.
Well, let's talk about the flip side of the ball there.
Yeah.
So Jaden Daniels has struggled a little bit over these last few weeks, whether that be passing, running the ball, you name it. He has kind of come back down to earth again. I don't think it's necessarily because of the offense. I think part of it is because you are playing these tougher teams right now. You played the second best defense in the league essentially last week with the Steelers. Now you played a very good defense this week against the Eagles. You get the Cowboys now. Please, thank you. Just do something.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of that. I think I'm kind of in the camp of it's a mix of that rib might still be bothering him, and also this is the Cliff Kingsbury offenses. They're 10 weeks, 10 weeks. They look unbeatable, and then they just stall out for whatever reason. It's happened everywhere he's been. And go back to Texas Tech, and it was the same thing there.
Yeah, it was just kind of wild.
I don't know, but yeah, Eagles coming into form right now is scary for the NFC.
Yeah. All right, we'll jump over to what was supposed to be the best game of the day. Kansas City, Buffalo. Yeah. Is it weird to say that like it just felt like Buffalo kind of had the game the entire time?
Yeah, they kind of had control of it. I mean, Mahomes 3 touchdowns, but 2 picks to go along with it. 90 rating, like it was
didn't even throw 200 yards.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like continuing on the narrative of like this is definitely
Travis Kelce did a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, and that was kind of expected. Not really, but
yeah.
I mean, on the flip side, Josh Allen did throw an interception fairly early in the game, I think, if I remember correctly.
I mean, that game wasn't massive for him. Like he had a good game for sure.
He had an MVP level play in that game though. That 30-yard touchdown run or 26-yard touchdown run. It was unbelievable. It was stupid. What he did there on 4th down to like clinch that game, unbelievable.
Yeah, he came through when it mattered for sure.
I think the MVP conversation got a little bit tighter after this week.
I think Josh Allen is the favorite right now.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Crazy. I'm going to double check that, but I'm very confident in saying that at this point. Yeah. It's close. Josh Allen's plus 150, Lamar Jackson plus 200. And honestly, I think that's fair. As good as Lamar has played, like being 7-4 now, after the game this past weekend, like, yeah.
It's definitely going to make the narrative tighter down these last few games.
I think he probably ends up with it at this point, as long as he just kind of stays the course. I don't think he has to do anything crazy at this point. I think if he just stays the course, because I feel like there is a little bit of Lamar fatigue, especially how they went out last year.
Yeah.
I just think that's, it shouldn't take place, but it's like that in every league.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just going to be some fatigue on Lamar.
Which happens. It happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens in every sport. How that works. Yeah. And Josh Allen has been banging on the door for an MVP for so long that, just be like, let's toss him this one. It's going to be how it goes. Yeah. The only
And it's not necessarily it's not necessarily like it's tossing him a bone. It's
no,
he
it's
earned
not
it.
like he's earned
But,
it. Like you know what I mean.
yeah,
But like if it's close,
it's gonna go to him. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I meant by that.
It's like it's like it's like what happened last year with defensive player of the year. It was close. Should have
Yeah,
went to TJ, but they were like, this is probably the only time Garrett's ever gonna win. So
yeah,
I guess.
right. No, yeah, that kind of stuff happens all the time. The only other thing with that game that was very interesting is it does make the 1 seed race now much more competitive. Because
Yeah, I mean,
if Kansas
the
City
Bills
wins that
pulled it.
game, goes to 10-0, Buffalo's sitting at 8-2.
They're sitting
Kansas
at
City
8-3.
essentially, or 8-3. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Buffalo essentially 3 games back, almost of the 1 seed.
yeah.
At that
Pittsburgh
point,
2 games back.
Kansas City is going to have the 1 seed wrapped up by Thanksgiving, pretty much for the most part, unless
Yeah,
there was like a massive collapse there. But now we actually
yeah.
have a
It's
race,
definitely
and now it's you got a 3-headed monster at this point.
yeah,
Because I mean, if Pittsburgh is able to beat Kansas City on Christmas,
yeah.
that's
Both
it's
both
real
Buffalo
freaking
and
hairy.
both Buffalo and Pittsburgh will hold the tiebreaker over
Yeah,
Kansas City.
but
So
Kansas City
it's going to
will
be an
more than likely
interesting
still have
last.
the record.
Maybe it'll depend because I mean, if they're like what I said with the 2020 Steelers, where they were winning a lot of those close games that they probably shouldn't have. They weren't
Last
playing
year's
their best
Eagles,
ball,
even.
but they were going to get done. Yeah. Down that stretch, though, team kind of fell apart.
Yeah,
People figured you out. You weren't. I mean, you're not that hard
you
to
weren't getting
game
the
for.
breaks. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, like
So
last year's Eagles were the same thing.
yeah. Eventually, like everything's going to kind of fall apart for you. It's not going to
Mhm.
be as cohesive. And Eagles last year, first round exit. Steelers 2021, first round exit. Doesn't
Eagles were
matter how
10-0 and lost the division last year.
exactly. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
how great you start if you can't keep that going. It's a lot
Mhm.
tougher.
Yeah.
Real quick, couple points before we get into our top tens. Chargers this close to blowing that lead and allowing the Bengals to stay alive in the playoff hunt.
Mhm.
That was a tight one. Broncos
Chargers not
absolutely pummeled the
charging anymore.
Falcons.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
No,
You can have fun with that.
no. Yeah, I'm just trying to go quick here because we're already at 45.
Yeah.
Broncos absolutely pummeled the Falcons. I predicted that despite everything that Asher believed in.
Yeah.
Asher last week told you guys not to start Breece Hall. Breece Hall has the best game of the season,
Fair enough.
and Anthony Richardson got it done.
Again, horrible weekend
And,
for me. Anything that could have gone wrong
oh,
for me this weekend did.
Asher's favorite pick of the week was Browns +1. They got pummeled by the Saints.
That game was close up until the end, though.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Right,
because I looked at that one because that game was. Hold on, let me find
it was
that.
close up until the end. Are you sure?
That game was tied
Yeah.
at 14 going into the fourth
Going
quarter.
into the fourth quarter, and then the Browns decided they were
The Saints
the Browns.
outscored them 21-0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Same
just-
thing with
just
the
dominated.
Raiders Dolphins. I was on that one, and that game was a 4-point game. Or was it? Hold on. Yeah, it was
five.
it was
going in the fourth.
24-19 with 3:38 to go.
Wow, and it just did not end.
And then it
close
was
at all.
34-19. Yeah. Miami then scored. Gardner Minshew threw a pick on the very first play of the drive. Miami kicked the field goal.
Well, they
Yeah.
kicked field goal.
And then that was it. And that was all she wrote there.
What are you gonna do then?
Dude, this was a horrible week for me.
All right, let's get in the top tens. We'll talk a little bit more about these teams,
Yep.
and then if
We'll get into all the fun stuff next episode here. Anyway, all right. I'll go first here. At number 10, I'm kind of giving a nod here because I didn't really know what to do with my 10 spot this week. Honestly. I got the Broncos.
nice.
I think
I don't hate that.
defense is legit. Bo Nix is
I don't
just
hate it.
being kind of exactly what we kind of thought he was going to be. Not a world beater, but like he's having a hell of a
Yeah.
year. Like I just that marriage with him and Sean Payton is real. He looks good. He looks
Yeah.
solid. It was clearly the most pro ready uh, coming out of college. There, I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels was great for a while there, but injuries, whatever. But what like
We we, we talked about it a little bit. Yeah.
Nick's has just been solid the whole year.
Yeah.
That's pretty
On
much
the
all I got
flip
to say
side,
there.
at my 10, I have who you just mentioned, the Commanders with Jaden Daniels. Um, this isn't anything against the team as a whole. They're still a good team. They're a playoff caliber team. But you played two of the best teams in the league back-to-back weeks, and you lost both of those games. And you didn't show me anything in those two games that really warrants you to be higher than this. Yeah, the Steelers game was a 1-point loss. However, it wasn't as close as that 1-point show. And then you guys went out on Thursday in that short week and did not really show up the way you needed to.
Yeah, I got the
And then,
Commanders
like,
at 9 just for the sake of it.
9.
For pretty much the
Yeah,
same
it's
things.
it's like the same thing. Which means you don't have the team that I have at 9. But I do want to touch on the Broncos a little bit. I like Bo Nix a lot. That marriage with Sean Payton's like match made in heaven.
Yeah,
The defense continues to show up week to week. And I've been high on the Broncos for a while now. I like what they do. I'm calling their games when I know they're going to be close and they should win. And it's been tight. So I'm happy that they are showing that on a week to week basis now.
Yeah,
And
that was the only good thing that happened to me this weekend was that when got my already cashed in on Broncos over 5.5.
Yeah.
So that's the one plus side that happened this week.
And honestly, they're probably going to win a lot more.
Yeah.
So
I mean that's a playoff team right now.
Yeah. My 9, I have the Vikings.
Yeah, I don't have them in. I'm still kind of just like up in the air on them.
I mean, they're a 2-loss team. They're not the best 2-loss team, but they're a 2-loss team. And they still got it done on Sunday, and you got to give them props for that. Obviously, they're not the same team that they were when they started the season, coming on hot and just cooking.
The offense is really cooled off. Sam Darnold has really cooled off at this point.
And on
the defense is still doing a lot, but
the defense is doing a lot, but it's getting figured out. It's not as undiscernible as it once was
against good teams for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's where they're missing is their defense isn't as like unstoppable, and their offense has, like you said, cooled off a little bit.
Yeah,
I still think they're a very good team. Trust me, going into the season, I would have not have told you I would be fighting for the Vikings in the top 10.
Yeah, that's your big miss of the year was the Vikings. Mine's the Jags. Yours is the Vikings. I just said that. I was acknowledging both of our big misses this year. We took big swings and we missed on them.
Yeah, except mine was there was no way you could predict that. Everybody could have predicted the Jags being bad. That's the difference.
I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
Anyway,
you got at 8?
8. I got the Cardinals.
Okay, I have the Packers. Cardinals I left off this week.
You left off the Cardinals. I left off the Packers this week. They were the ones that fell out there. Because even in the win, I was like, you kind of shouldn't have had that
Cardinals,
one.
Yeah, Cardinals. I
my
have
concerns
like right outside
Packers.
my top 10.
The issue with it's not just that the game was close. It was out of the bye. It was that close, and and I've given LaFleur his flowers all year long on that. But like out of the bye, dude, you got to show me something. The Bears are reeling right now. It's just like you shouldn't get that much of a bump from an OC change.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you kind of let them.
Yeah, so they were the one I left off this week. But yeah, now Cardinals just keep doing their thing, dude. Like,
well, I mean, Cardinals were on a bye last week; they couldn't lose.
So. Yeah, I mean, but even still, it's just like I keep waiting for the wheels to fall off of that, and it's just not. The defense is like they're the opposite of the Vikings right now. Where like the Vikings, you're starting to see some chinks in the armor there. The Cardinals are getting better every week in different areas. Like the offense has kind of been steady all year with some that wasn't even a thumbs up. Don't even give me that. It's with some growth. But the defense is getting better week after
Yeah,
week there, and that is what has really surprised me with them because I had them as a fourth place team. Like there's just not enough talent on the defensive side. I thought it was going to be shootouts or nothing, but like
that
they're
hasn't been
doing
the
really
case.
well, and like the pass,
And
they're generating a pass rush now, like out of nowhere more than anything.
yeah, I mean, going back to like the very first week one, not week one
Yeah,
of this podcast, but week one of the NFL season.
yeah.
I even said like I like the Cardinals a lot more than most people. They're going to give Buffalo a little bit of a run, and they did that
Mm.
week. I mean, but they've had their ups and downs also throughout the season. But yeah, they're coming into their own. Obviously, you want to see more. I mean, if they beat the Seahawks this week, definitely have that like stronghold on that division right now. So,
Yeah, for sure.
all right, who do you have at 7? I think we have the
Wait,
same
no,
thing.
wait, who's your 8?
Eight's the Packers.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's fair. Did you have any thoughts on the Packers? Since I didn't let you go.
I mean, if they would have lost, they wouldn't have made my top 10. But you found it's like the Chiefs' explanation from last
Fair
week.
enough.
I don't really want to do it, but they're there. You found a way to win. I'm not
I
gonna.
gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah,
Fair enough. 7. I think this might be where we go on a run of everything's the same here. 7. I got the
I
Chargers.
don't think so. I have the Chargers. I don't think we do. But
Same teams, different orders.
oh yeah, 7 up, same teams, locked in. I'll tell you that right now. But in
Yeah.
the same spot, I doubt it.
Yeah. Chargers. They again. I mean, this was one of my loves going into the year,
Yeah, they're coming into it, man.
and they're
Defense is.
not charging anymore because, like we just said, like they could have lost that game on Monday night.
They should have lost that game.
They should have lost that game on Monday night, but they're finding ways to win. They're not finding ways to lose.
J.K. Dobbins said, "I'm not losing this game." So
Exactly.
good on him.
Miss him.
Good on them overall. Good on the coaching, and the defense continues to show out. I mean, they did a poorer job on Sunday night, but they still showed up.
Oh, yeah, it was a Sunday night game. I said Monday.
And they gave Burrow a bit of a rough start there as well in that first half. It took them a minute to get going. I think if Cincinnati would have came out the gates, I think we're talking about a different storyline right now. But they did hold it off enough.
Just simply put, when's the last time anybody said about the Chargers, oh, they should have lost that game and not, they should have won that game. Like, what the hell happened? They should have won that game.
It's been a while.
Maybe
like 18,
ever?
18
Ever.
Fill up. It has to be. They made the playoffs a couple times with Rivers.
Well, I'm not even saying that, but like just them as a whole. It's like that organization has found ways to lose games like none other. And they've been a very good franchise. It's just like now you have a completely different culture.
Yeah, and that's the hope. You kind of figure that out going
Harbaugh
forward.
is that guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Number 6, right. Say it together.
I have the other. Oh, you go ahead.
You probably dropped.
I have the other Harbaugh. Yeah,
that's fair. I got the Eagles at 6.
I'm not gonna put them above the Eagles. I'm not gonna. I can't.
Who do you have? Do you have the Eagles?
I have the Eagles at 5.
Yeah, we got a flip flop. That's it.
Yeah, that's all. And then I bet our top 4 is the exact same. Yeah,
I don't think it is.
Interesting.
I don't think our top 4 is the same. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I just went through all the reasons why I hate the Ravens right now.
Yeah, so we can kind of brush past that.
I'll take penalties over. Good God, I don't know what I'm doing inside of 2 minutes, and just poor coaching decisions. Consistently poor coaching decisions. That's definitely literally the only thing. I think the Ravens not the Ravens. I think the Eagles have a better roster right now. I think they have more momentum right now. This literally comes down to splitting hairs, and I'd rather have the other Harbaugh than Sirianni.
No, that's completely reasonable. I'd rather have Saquon in that offense, and that's just my opinion.
That's fair.
And the Ravens have probably the best offense in the league. I just like what the Eagles bring to the table on a week-to-week basis and what they show. Plus,
and they've kind of found their sweet spot now. Yeah.
Yeah, I trust their offensive line and what they've kind of like grown into now by week 12, which is what we're going into with
Mhm.
Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson. They just got Jordan Mailata back. So
Mhm.
that elite group is coming together and being cohesive. Whereas with the Ravens, it's kind of still pulling at each other a bit. They're
Yeah,
not
it's
they're
not
not the
even that.
same.
It's just the penalties right now. It's just
Yeah, the
that
penalties
because like
definitely
they're blocking
stacked
well.
up.
Because like even in the game this week, like, they played well. The offensive line did play
Yeah,
well, and when they didn't,
yeah,
Lamar like they were at least getting everything when they were falling apart in ways for Lamar to kind of get out and do his thing for the most part. It was just penalties, dude. Like
yeah,
again, like every time Derrick Henry broke off a big run, it's coming back for a hold. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
Just kind of not what you want. But yeah,
yeah, stressful.
yeah. Like you said, we're just splitting hairs. All right,
So
who do
who
you
do you
have at
have?
four?
I have the Bills at 4.
Oh, I have the Steelers at 4.
Got those flip flopped.
Interesting. I can't put the Steelers above the Bills.
I
Um,
can. This one I have a
I
little bit
oh
more
no,
conviction behind, honestly,
I
than
I I
the
I
Ravens
understand
Eagles
it.
one.
I think. I mean, obviously, I'm a Steelers fan through and through.
Hmm.
They beat 5 teams with a winning record, which is the second most in the NFL. They have shown a lot of charisma in what they do. They find a way to win those one-score games. However, with Buffalo, it, I mean, for me, this one's a little bit more about splitting hairs than
Fair enough.
the Eagles Ravens was.
That's fair.
Like you said, with the Eagles Ravens, it comes down to coaching. For me, it comes down to quarterback play. Josh Allen finds a way to just do what he does best, which is win a football game. He did
Mhm.
it last year. Down the stretch, he dominated, turned their entire season around to get them the 2 seed in the playoffs. They
Yeah.
were at one point dead in the
They,
water,
yeah,
and he
he
got them the
was
2 seed.
insane down the stretch last year. I just,
So give me that every single week. And he's showing that he's still capable of that. Well, obviously, I mean, he's 27 years old, but
mm,
the fact that this man is just coming out winning games despite not having a healthy roster. He didn't have Dalton Cade. He didn't have Keon Coleman. He had a half injured Amari Cooper out there, and they won that game.
no,
That's all.
I mean that's fair. I just feel stronger about this one. There's just a lack of faith with me with the Bills right now. I think I said it
Yeah,
last week. They're giving me Cowboys vibes of the past couple years. Now, I
that's
mean,
fair.
obviously they got this one, but this is also kind of like the Cowboys splitting with the Eagles, with the Eagles being
Yeah,
good, but like also just not being good against teams with winning records, but beating up on the teams that they should, and you can't really knock them for that. Like it's they're very confusing in that.
definitely
I'm
fair.
just it's that damn dark magic variable with the Steelers right now. Like they are. I
Yeah,
said it last week. This is the most terrifying team to me,
I mean, you saw it
especially
up
in the
close and
AFC.
personal.
Yeah, I saw it, and like everything that I was saying about them. It's just like no matter what they do, they find ways to win games. It's Tomlin's personality on the field all the time, where it can be a little reckless in George Pickens. And I mean, there were skirmishes throughout that entire game, but like it's hard nosed. I don't, and they don't
Yeah,
care. They do not
no, they
care
don't shit,
who they're playing.
and
It's
I love it. I
yeah,
love it. Yeah,
again, like you can knock Tomlin for being a defensive guy and not being able to get the O line right for so long, and some of his like in game like decisions, like situational stuff, everything like that. But like, man, when it comes to building a culture, it's like Tomlin, Harbaugh. I mean, Dan Campbell's creeping into that territory at this point, but like,
yeah,
they're one of one.
yeah. They're unique guys and guys that
Mm-hmm.
players want to be a part of. Like Deshaun Elliott is that perfect
Yeah,
example. He chose to come to Pittsburgh because of Mike Tomlin. He
yeah.
talked about it
It's
openly.
you can't play for the Steelers without having a few screws loose.
Yeah,
Except,
yeah.
unless you're the quarterback, because right now it's like Russell Wilson being like the most annoyingly quarterbacky person in the world.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, outside of that, it's just, everybody's kind of a loose cannon.
Which is what you want. I mean, T.J. Watt shaved his head last week. We all should have known what was coming.
True. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he's a terrifying individual. And then I think our top two are the same here.
Yeah, Chiefs 2, Lions 1. I mean,
Yeah,
Chiefs. We've said.
I just
we
needed
say it
the
every week.
reason.
It's like the same. It's the same thing. I'm
I just
glad
needed
you
the
finally
reason
have
to
a
take him
reason.
out. Yeah, I couldn't.
Thank you for joining me. I mean, even if they would have won, I'm gonna be honest. Even if they would have somehow won that game, the Lions beat the Jaguars so bad that it's hard for me still not to put them at one. Like,
I mean, the Lions they're not just taking care of business against bad teams. They are demoralizing bad teams.
They are going out, grabbing a garbage truck, pulling up to the stadium, throwing you in it, and taking you away.
Yeah.
By themselves. They don't need to call somebody else. It's them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll bag you too. They'll go in, they'll bag you, they'll take you out nice and kindly, toss you in. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy for them.
Yeah, they're the friend that you invite over to your house or like meet out at the bar and then go home with your wife.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I didn't know this was capable. I thought we had a good marriage.
While like their own wife as well. They're taking their spouse and yours.
Both of them back.
And any other of your friends' spouses that want to come along for the ride. And then they go home.
They are the guy, they're your guy that your girlfriend says you don't have to worry about. That's them, except on steroids.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like they do that, and then they like respectfully drop them off the next morning.
And you shake their hand because you're
confused. You thank them for it.
Yeah. Oh, did you have a good time, sweetheart? No.
It's like, wait, like you don't even bat an eye. Like it's insane.
It's insane. It's truly crazy. They're by far the best team in the league. It's that the gap between 1 and 2 is greater than 2 and 10.
I would say that if we weren't talking about this Chiefs team, because like we're not in playoff football yet, and that little cloud is just looming over everything.
Let me change it then. Yeah. The gap between 1 and 2 is not as close as the gap between 2 and 7. Is that better?
Honestly, at this point, yeah, that's fair. I don't want to do math in my head right now. Yeah, let's go with that one. That's fine.
I'm not saying it's like a massive gap difference, but like I would put a large gap between the Lions and the Chiefs.
Yeah, like I was looking at Lions -7 this week. -7. I saw them at -7.5 against the Colts, and I still thought about it. I was like, should I? But like, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to take a 7.5 point favorite in the National Football League. But
it's crazy. All right, that's all I got for this week. One. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. Went a little longer probably than planned, but we were able to.
Yeah, we reined it in there on the top 10.
So that was good. That was good.
It's good timing,
you guys. Talked about a lot, but we got a lot more to talk about in this next one, guys. So be ready, because we're gonna get into it here in a little bit.
Yep. All right, let's do this.
All right,
we'll be back.
Let's get out of here.